Greetings, everyone. Pete here from Comic Book Users. Welcome to another edition of Inside the Cover. Of course, it's October, it's Halloween season, so we're taking a look at some kind of cool horror and monster comics from the good old days, right? Today, we're going to take a look at a title from 1974. It's issue number 29 of Monsters on the Prowl. Heaven help me, it's true. There is a monster at my window. Great cover, by the way. Pretty indicative of what you're going to get in the first story there, except a couple little twists inside the story. See this woman right here, who's the one who's actually saying this. She's not in the story. So a little bit of bait and switch there. However, this monster here is. So the first story is called The Monster at My Window, and this is drawn by Jack Kirby and Dick Ayers. Originally presented in Tales to Astonish number 34 from 1963. All right, so there you have, there you got The Insult That Made a Man Out of Mac. All right, of course, everybody remembers that famous advertisement in a lot of comics back in the day. So here we've got the monster on the windowsill outside, and of course, the story starts with Paul Marshall as a famous writer of science fiction tales. So what, you say? Well, just wait and see what develops. So basically, Paul is a writer, lives in a apartment building in a city. We don't really know what city. So here, he's up there, and he's been writing. He's trying to get to sleep, but of course, his mind is, all the stuff. Writers have a lot of stuff going on in their minds. He's writing all sorts of weird books and tales and things like that. So he gets up in the middle of the night and he looks outside and he goes, "Holy Hannah, what's that?" And he sees this face outside his window. Pretty horrific. He's like, "Wait a second, did I actually just see that?" He looks again, the face is gone, right? So the next day he goes out, he's on a date with his girlfriend, and she's like, "What's wrong, Paul? You seem disturbed." He goes, "I don't know, I somehow have the strangest feeling that I'm being watched." And then, behind them there's a manhole cover, and someone is looking at them. Oh, there we go. Right there. So someone is looking at him. So he tries to go back to writing, and he's having a hard time. Someone is watching me. I can feel his glance in the back of my neck. And then he goes back to the window, and there is this creature once again looking at him. He goes, "It's him, the same hideous creature that I saw before. Who is he? What is he? How did he get here? Oh Lord, what am I thinking? There's no monster outside. There can't be." And meanwhile, the monster is lurking right outside. Right? You just can't see him. So... Oh, more ads. Stratomatic Baseball, managing the majors. Of course. So then he goes, "He's gone. There's no sign of him. He must have lumbered up to the roof. That is, if he ever really existed in the first place. What is the answer? Was he real, or am I going mad?" So he goes up to the roof. Or actually, no, not yet. He goes to take a couple sleeping pills. He hears a crash. He turns around, and there is the monster in his apartment. So he goes to flee. Of course, he goes running upstairs. The monster is crashing through his apartment after him. Kind of looks like the pretty cool creature, right? Kind of looks like a mix of like that old It the Colossus mixed with a couple other monsters that we've seen Jack Kirby do. Goes up to the roof, closes the roof door, right? This is a steel fire door. Perhaps now, a little break for some karate, judo, jitsu, savat. And of course, no, he crashes through. All right, so they're up on the roof. There's the confrontation there. So the monster says, "You cannot escape from me, but you will have nothing to fear if you obey my commands." And Paul's like, "Commands?" He goes, "I come from the sixth dimension. My world plans to invade, but we want you humans to trust us when we first arrive. We want you to consider us as friends so that we can have the advantage of surprise when we attack." He's like, "But," he goes, "silence. This is where you come in. You are a writer of fantasy. We order you to write stories about aliens like us coming to Earth. You will describe us as kind, friendly, and charitable. Your stories are popular. They influence many people." Well, he knows a lot about Paul, right? "By the time we arrive, everyone will think we are friendly visitors, and when they learn the truth, it'll be too late. But if you dare refuse us," he goes, "you needn't worry about my refusing. I shall be glad to write stories about friendly visitors from another world. Ah, you are indeed wise not to defy me." So he starts to draw something. He goes, "I shall describe them as huge creatures who look like this. Like this. And the creature's like, but that is wrong. No, you must make them appear as I appear, no different. And he goes, not on your life, pal. He goes, what? You dare refuse my command? He goes, of course. I only pretended to be frightened of you so that I could lure you up here on the roof where I could learn what your game is and where no one can see what I'm going to do to you. And then all of a sudden, Paul goes, for after all, did you think that the sixth dimension was the only dimension? Paul turns into the alien creature that he actually is. And he goes, we are also planning to attack the Earth. So there we have the final scene is right down here. And that is the battle between the two alien behemoths. What happens, we don't know. But interesting how, Paul was actually also an alien on Earth trying to help his alien race plot to destroy the Earth. So here you got two aliens now going at it. Let's see. So we got some more ads, right? These classic old ads. 3 big drafting kits given to you. High paid job in drafting. Free catalogs. It's all free. Now we got a monster among us. So this is an interesting story. You get this fishing crew that are out and they see this kind of like tentacled octopus creature killing one of their members, one of their fellow fishermen, dragging him under the sea. So they goes back to the captain. Poor Pedro, with eyes popping from his head, screamed one time before the big ugly thing pulled him down. The long hairy arms sucking at his throat, the face too ugly to tell about close to his. That blasted fool! I've stood about all this that I can. Jose, shut up. Your blasted fairy tales will frighten all the men from going for fish. So the captain is like, if you keep telling these stories, no one's going to go and want to go out and fish. We got to fish. That's our job, right? So here, the guy keeps freaking out, telling the story about what's going on. It's like, and meanwhile, the captain is like, I warn you, keep your mouth shut. But it's true. Now get out of here. You're through fishing for me. If I ever see you around again, he goes, oh, there, it's coming, the monster. But then it's only a dog, right? So now everybody's all freaked out about this monster that's out there on the water. So the captain of the ship is like, the captain of the crew is like, I'm going to go out on my own, and I'm going to take care of this thing to show you all there's nothing out there. So he goes out into the water, a big storm rages, his ship crashes, and then he sees a lighthouse off in the distance. He goes, all right, I'm going to go swim to the lighthouse. My boat is ruined. Get to the lighthouse. Hello, anybody there? An old man's there, old man with a pipe. He goes, I cracked up on the rocks down here. What place is this? He goes, Drummond Reef Lighthouse. Come in. Come right in. Oh, you're soaked to the skin. You must have been plenty far out to sea. Let's get yourself caught up out of the storm. Get those wet things off. I'll give you something to eat. And he goes, you're reading my mind, my friend. It's like, very happy that you can help me, such and such. So now he goes, now after they eat, he goes, I'm anxious to get back to show those witless fools that they're monsters. But hold on. This lighthouse, it was put out of service 10 years ago. And he goes, so it was, the old guy says. But how lucky for you, it is back in service today, huh? The storm is letting up. I have a dory you may borrow. So they go out, and they go back out so he can go show him to the dory, the little ship that he can use, the little boat, to get back to where he's got to be. And he's like, so the captain goes, oh, there it is. He turns back. He doesn't see the old man. So he goes, hey there, mister. If this lighthouse was put back in service today, why isn't that light going on as it should at night? I don't believe you're a lighthouse keeper. And then you see a shadow, and he goes, you doubt everything, don't you, Dan Harder? That's the name of the captain. The mystic power of the sea, her great children from the deep. He goes, the monster again. Are there no sane men left? I can't take time to listen to this nonsense. I have to be going. And then out from behind the rock, from the shadows, comes the monster. Actually, the old man was the monster, taking the form of an old guy. And look at that last scene, right? I mean, going and grabbing him, choking him, and pulling him under the water. And the last things it said is like, down, and closer. Dan, you're beginning to see its face. You want to close your eyes, but you can't. You want to scream. And then the end. And the hand going under the water. Pretty creepy tale, right? Next up, we've got The Spy. Okay, so this is a kind of a familiar story. So this is about, you understand then, to succeed, you must learn to behave, to react, even to think like a man. So you got these alien creatures of what looks like a man, right? He goes, I understand, I shall study Earth and learn its strength and its weaknesses, and I shall not fail. I will be a man. Then go. We have been too long exiled from our mother planet to this asteroid. It's time we took a world for our own, and that world is Earth. Dismissed. They send him off to the spaceport. And this is originally presented in World of Suspense number 3. And then, of course, this guy, who I guess is kind of like a robot or something like that, some kind of synthesoid, takes his spaceship, and of course we got the old school looking flying saucer there, goes to Earth, infiltrates. He looks like everybody else here. He hangs out. He gets a job, right? Starts smoking cigarettes, whatever. And then when it's time to go back, watching everything that we're doing, goes back to his planet, right? So one thing I do want to mention, on the planet that he comes from, they don't have oxygen. They live on methane, right? So it goes back to the planet, right? It sits there telling us, like, we're all anxious to hear the great news of what you learned on Earth. And he, inside the council, waited to hear him. The honor of it, the glory of it was almost too much to bear. Wait here, please. So he sits down, gets ready to go into the council to tell them all about his trip to Earth. What does he do? He continues doing one of the things that he was doing here on Earth, lights up a cigarette, and kaboom. Planet explodes. Methane and fire doesn't really work together, right? Kind of silly. Next up, after some more cool ads, we've got the Joker, art by Steve Ditko, classic Steve Ditko and Monsters. So here we got the Joker. All right, so that guy there, he's the clown, he's the prankster. The guy's always playing jokes on people. This grinning idiot is Horace, public menace number 1. Here comes a car, now I'll hide the sign. So hides the sign, road closed, people go sink into the mud. Does all these funny things to people. He's just basically pulling pranks on everybody, right? So after a while, his sort of friends, oh, now we got a cool, speaking of horror Halloween season, there you go, giant-sized Spider-Man and Dracula. Great cover, not a great story. They don't really even meet. So then some people who know him goes, that lame brain Horace is too dangerous to run around loose. And how? Listen, I know how to teach him a lesson. We'll give him the scare of his life. Whatever it is, count as sin. A couple of us will dress up like Martians and tell him we've come to take an Earthling to Mars with us. He'll be the Earthling. Terrific. They're all into it. Little they know that Horace is sitting outside the window listening to him. So I'm like, they're not going to fool me, but I'll play along with it, right? So he goes, are they in for a surprise? I'll go along with it for a little bit. So they go and they find these Martian costumes. And they get ready to go do what they're gonna do here, and then but then they're like, oh, maybe this is even too big of a scare for someone like him. Maybe this is kind of cruel. Think we ought to call it off? Gee, I don't know. He sure does need a lesson. So then later on at Horace's, he looks out the window and he sees these big lumbering green creatures. Here they come, boy! What cornball costumes! Earthling, we want you! Oh, happy day! So he's like all excited. So they come in. We are from Mars. Are you not afraid? He goes, heck no. Some of my friends here on Earth are even sillier looking than you. And then secretly he's saying to himself, haha, they sure look disappointed. We must blindfold you, for we are taking you to Mars. Don't want me to see where you're parked your saucer, huh? Good. Here's a handkerchief you can use. This is terrific. After all the trouble they went in order to frighten me, I'm not the least bit scared. I must be killing them. Ha, ha, ha. So this is the greatest joke ever pulled. So here they go. They're like walking him up to the spaceship. Okay. And then he goes, as they're walking to the spaceship, he goes, say, is this a regular flying saucer or one of those new compact jobs? Ha, ha, ha. So to him, it's all a big joke. And then he goes, I wonder how long they'll keep this up before they admit I get the last laugh. He goes, come on, guys, you can quit the act now. I know who you are. This is Horace, remember? I'm the expert on practical jokes. And he goes, you do not react the way we expected of our first captive to behave. He goes, oh, I'm a captive, huh? And what? What are you going to do with me? We are bringing you to our zoo. You will be on permanent exhibit as an example of a living Earthman. He goes, huh? And then he realizes that the joke is on him, that his buddies did pull out of playing the joke on him, but actual Martians or space creatures did come to his house, and here he is on the spaceship behind bars, going to another planet to be put in a zoo like any regular animal would. So there you have it. Issue number 29, Monsters on the Prowl. These are a lot of fun. As hokey as they are, these are cool. Bill and I both love these old monster and horror comics because they're from a different era. Things were way different the way they told stories back in like the 50s and 60s. A lot of morality plays and things like that. All based on some real issues and things and ideas and what have you. So yeah, pretty cool. Thanks for watching, everybody. Here we've got a couple more episodes coming up. To finish up the Halloween season here. We may extend it a little bit because I know we've had some, I was on vacation and Bill and I had a hard time getting together for a bit during the month. So we may actually extend these inside the covers on some horror books into November. So we'll see how it goes. All right. So thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And please click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content. We've got a new episode coming up on Friday. I think I'm going to renew the new Here Comes Calico issue number 3, which just came in the door. So probably we'll get to that, and then I think Bill and I will be getting together fairly soon to record a whole bunch of other Inside the Cover episodes. So thanks for watching, everybody. I am Pete here on Comic Book Geezers, and we'll see you real soon. Take care. Bye bye.